Monetization and Ashes, banger video by Narc. Oh, here we go.
What the hell are these analytics? The channel's plummeting. Is the boss losing his touch or what?
Sir, I just got word that the boss is covering another controversial subject. He's talking about Ashes of Creation, and he's talking about the Fomo stuff and all the stores.
All right, well, first of all, remind yourself whose office you're in before you start barging in, screaming your mouth off.
Sorry, sir. I didn't mean nothing by it. I just thought it was important information.
I love these fucking intros, man. This is great.
I respect the mighty Al Gore.
And secondly, I'd like to remind you that the boss has kept us going for nearly 18 months with no squabbles, no help, no nothing. How dare you walk into my office and tell me, of all people, the boss is covering a controversial subject again?
Yeah, that's right.
To remind you, last time the boss did that, he absolutely wiped the floor with the lot.
Okay.
You're right, sir. There's nothing to worry about then.
Controversial subject. You wouldn't know a controversial subject if it slapped you in the face, mate. Am I right, guys? There's nobody in here.
Okay.
Well, it was fine.
Well, let's see the
time,
controversial subject then.
Be sure I'll go
I'm ready.
Hey, what up, boys? So, it's been a while since we farmed a controversial topic for shameless views.
Thank God.
20
I've been waiting for
days,
this.
In fact, and my need to trigger as many nerds as possible has reached critical levels.
This is the same guy that made the video about how Dragonflight was bad. Remember that? The WoW expansion, and people got so upset about it? Well, he's back again talking about his own favorite game, Ashes of Creation, sabotaging their own reputation with Fomo cosmetics. Here we go.
I thought it would be rather interesting to turn on my own community, as lately the channel has been taking the stance of bringing up some interesting topics in relation to the core designs of Ashes of Creation in the modern era. And I think we'll be continuing this trend for the foreseeable future, as the discussion it brings is exactly what I'm looking for. So come join the Discord, my friends.
Okay, here we go. Let's see it.
Has been so prominent that I can use it to upload less videos and then just blame it on somebody else.
That's actually one of the best things about creating controversies, is that you only have to make one video about the controversy, and then that one video kind of creates 3 more videos. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. It's like you're planting a seed.
Procrastination.
It's a seed of molding.
Grab yourself a Coca-Cola, because
Fomo is an insidious practice in the MMO genre, and Ashes of Creation is no virgin to such practices. One of the biggest criticisms for this potential scam is the sheer amount of Fomo cosmetics they push to us. Offering cosmetic after cosmetic, shoving it down our throats with the promise of the perfect MMO.
And I'd like to discuss this with you all today.
Okay.
Now,
all right, let's see it.
With all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
What is a cosmetic pack?
So this
I think
video
that we
was
know what
actually
that is.
birthed whilst discussing Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen of all things, with my boys in Discord, as monetization for publicly funded MMOs is quite a hot topic. They brought up some interesting pros and cons for long-term monetization practices for both of these highly anticipated MMOs, and what it'll mean for the long-term health and sustainability. Now, normally I would encourage you all to like or dislike this video, depending on your personal opinions on the matter. However, because YouTube removed the ability to publicly see dislikes, surely to protect small creators, like they said, and not protect giant corporate
small
entities
creators like Gillette.
Blizzard's latest WoW expansion. I will instead
Gillette
still encourage you to do that, but also please
leave
a comment explaining how you feel about the whole situation, so Intrepid can garner some wider feedback from players who are not in the echo chamber and completely overdosing on this MMO's copium.
I'm curious about
this. You do
this.
still watch my videos, right, Steven? I'm not a brand risk yet, am I? So it's no secret that Ashes of Creation pushes their Fomo cosmetics every single stream, and I will be trying my best to take a neutral stance on this subject throughout the video, despite my ultra bias against these bastard cosmetic packs. So first of all, let's begin by discussing why they exist in the first place, just to patch up
money. That's why these companies sell cosmetics because they make money. That's it. That's the whole reason. It's for money. All right, let's see what his reason is.
Confusion for what these actually are and their purpose in relation to development. So these are not technically cosmetics being sold to us as cosmetics. Every asset that's shown in these packs, the armor, the pets, the mounts, boats, and buildings, these are assets that the team are creating anyway to populate the world.
All of the creatures and NPCs that we create for these monthly cosmetics, you are helping us develop the world. These are going to be in the game as NPCs, as creature variants, etc.
Well, that's because the NPCs and creature variants serve as advertisements for the cosmetics that are on the store. So, like, for example, whenever you were in Shadowmoon Valley and Warlords of Draenor, you would see all of the really cool Fey dragons, but you wouldn't see them anywhere in the game. You couldn't buy them anywhere, so it's like, well, where do you get one? Well, you have to go to the store to buy one. So it's actually a very smart thing to do to have that, because that allows people to see the cosmetics and think to themselves, wow, that guy looks really cool. How do I get that? Oh, I have to buy it. Okay, I'll buy that. That's how it works.
I mean, you probably already have seen them through Alpha 1. But yeah, you're helping us really, like, build it out.
This crocodile mount here, for example, is not actually a mount at all. It'll be mobs that populate a swamp or mushroom biome. Same goes for everything else shown. The wolf mount shown here looks like they would fit very nicely as ambient hostile wolf mobs populating a dark and dank forest zone, which is also likely to be populated by these very cultist-like factions they've shown as armor sets.
Those don't look like cultists. Those like people. It looks like people that go to well, I guess like they're. I mean, this looks like kind of like a young Rob Zombie. I mean, like, let's be honest. It's a bit weird, right? Yeah, it's an EDM concert. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like Burning Man or something like that, right? Like, yeah, these people are straight out of Burning Man, but it's like a little bit of like a dark theme. So, not quite. Ozfest, yeah, there you fucking go. And so, yeah, look, all I'm saying is that, like, the cosmetics, like, selling cosmetics is better than selling stuff that's pay to win. But I think that a lot of people don't like selling cosmetics. But in my opinion, I think that we're at the point where pretty much every MMO is going to sell cosmetics. I can't, like, I don't know any MMO that does not sell cosmetics. I think like RuneScape, I don't know if RuneScape sells them or not. WoW obviously does. Final Fantasy sells cosmetics. Ashes of Creation is already selling cosmetics. New World sells cosmetics. Lost Ark sells a lot of cosmetics. That's just what they do. That's how they make money.
Over the months. In fact, I'd say it's fairly safe to assume that most, if not all, the assets they've shown in-game related to these cosmetic packs are actually the very assets that will be used in Alpha 2, and it actually highlights some super interesting facts about Alpha 2 that I only recently uncovered. But I won't spoil this juicy information in today's video. That's far better suited to milk for another day's worth of copium soaked ad revenue.
Smart.
The point is, it's pretty obvious what parts of the map they're going to use for Alpha 2. You just take the cosmetic assets that they've shown over the last few months and then cross-reference it with the environment concept. But then again, maybe I'm so far down the rabbit hole that I don't even know what's reality anymore. Now that we've cleared up the purpose of the cosmetic packs and why they exist, let's move on to their current monetization method and how it's been received by the wider player base outside of our little circle of hope. As it stands, Ashes of Creation is the only successful, publicly funded MMO project. Some would argue there is...
I think that's generally true. I feel like this is like what I think is... I think cosmetics are fine as long as you know what you're getting. Like, I don't like loot box cosmetics. Like, Overwatch boxes, for example, you click on them, you don't know what's going to be in the box, and so, like, I think that sucks. But, like, if you buy a cosmetic off of a store, like, should a game not be able to sell cosmetics? No, I don't think that's the case. I think pay to win and cosmetics are, in a lot of ways, the same thing, because people denote success by how they look in video games. I think that's true. But in general, I think that a game like look at two different games, right? Look at Lost Ark and look at New World. Not being pay to win actually doesn't matter. New World's not pay to win, and it's dead. That's the truth. Like, it's dead. So it's not like there's this actual huge amount of people out there that really want to play a non-pay-to-win game. No, because as a marketing point of difference, it's not as strong as people might have you believe.
Of course, Star Citizen and Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and I would have to refute that by saying Star Citizen isn't even an MMO, and Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is,
It's trash.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
Anyway, it's safe to say that Ashes is pretty much our last remaining hope for a genuine, good quality MMO that's trying to appeal to a large enough audience to compete with the likes of Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, and Black Desert Online for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th place spot. Now, I very carefully didn't mention Final Fantasy XIV and WoW there because I'm not entirely convinced Ashes of Creation's open world PvP will actually appeal to the masses of brain-dead morons who want a single-player game masquerading as an MMO. So I think it's far more likely to assume Ashes will fall within the same number of players as the 3 currently popular MMOs that just fall short of appealing to a mainstream audience. Successful?
I think that's an interesting way to look at it, is like, if the open world PvP and stuff like that alienates that many people, is that really a good thing to have in the game? And I think that, like, honestly, I don't think that they really know the answer to that, because the truth is that you can do as much testing and as much theorizing as you want, but the moment that the player base actually enters the game and you see how things evolve and how actual people interface with the systems, I can guarantee you that Ashes of Creation is going to be no different. Every single time the developer puts in a system and then players abuse the fuck out of it, right? And then they think, wow, my beautiful, really great idea, it's not as good as I thought it was. You know, circle goes in a square hole, rectangle goes in a square hole, triangle goes in a square hole. That's what's gonna fucking happen. That's exactly it.
But niche is how I would describe them, and I think that's a pretty accurate description for our highly anticipated MMO as well. But we'll come back to post-launch monetization in the final segment. Before that, I wanted to discuss their alpha funding process. Now, it's important to remember that whilst the game is running and the game is being developed, they aren't charging us a sub fee to test it, which means Steven is paying out a large sum of money each month to sustain not only his team's wages, but they will eventually have to pay to keep their servers running as well, all the way up until release. Ashes of Creation is planning...
I'd say, like, just in general, the game looks great. I've said this before with Ashes of Creation. I think the game looks amazing. I'm very, very positive with, like, the, just, like, the scope of the game, the graphics. I think it looks great. I'm a big fan.
To be a mandatory subscription fee game with no box cost. But they're also opting in to go for a cosmetic store post-release, and Steven is adamant that their cosmetics sold in the store will most definitely not overshadow the in-game earnable ones, but in the history of MMOs, that's never been the case, and I only go off facts and evidence. Unless the facts and evidence in question contradict my own opinion, then we just ignore it. An additional note to their cosmetic store.
Like, that looks fucking badass. I'm gonna be honest. Like, that cat, like, oh my god, that's a good ass mount. Like, I want that. That's a great fucking mount. That's a chonker. Yeah, those are called, I think, palace cats. You can't pet them. They'll, like, bite you or some fucking shit. And, like, yeah, they're actual chonkers, but they're angry chonkers. Yeah, it's not like you pick them up and they're fluffy and it's like a big dog. No, it's just like you pick them up and they scratch you and they run away. And they make weird noises too. And anyway, what I'm trying to get at is that every game, what happens is the cosmetics. So here's where you're at with cosmetics in video games, right? Is that in order for a cosmetic to be compelling, it has to look special. So what cosmetic is going to sell more? Is it going to be a boring, drab, plate armor cosmetic? Or is it going to be some golden plate armor that's got, like, a fucking, like, swords on the back of it and a bunch of other crazy shit, and it's shining and it has, like, 3D effects around it? Well, obviously everybody's going to buy the golden armor. So what happens is that whenever you have cosmetics in a game, it creates a profit incentive to lock all of the best cosmetic options behind a paywall, because those are the cosmetic options that are going to return the most revenue. And I think that's why it happens, is because just by seeking out the most money possible, which every company does, that's the conclusion you arrive at. That's it.
Has also stated that Ashes of Creation will never turn pay to win. This is one of, if not the major factor as to why he started this project in the first place. Pay to win killed both Arcade and Lineage 2, which were Steven's main MMOs and the main inspiration for nearly all of Ashes of Creation's mechanics. As someone who has also seen what the MMO genre has degenerated to over the years, I tend to believe his statement here, and I do believe he will never let this MMO turn pay to win. It basically
I generally agree with that. I mean, it depends. Like, here's what the problem is that pay to win is such a loaded term that has a different definition for literally every single person that uses it. It's very hard to say, like, oh, this game isn't pay to win, because some people say cosmetics are pay to win. Some people say level boosts are pay to win. Some people say Lost Ark isn't pay to win. Right? I mean, that's what happens. And yes, it is. Not really. No, you absolutely, really. Absolutely. What even is winning? To crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, to hear the lamentations of their women. That's what winning is for me. But to be honest, like, it's having the best shit, the best gear, and that's it. Who gives a fuck about everything else? I want the best gear to do the most damage with the biggest sword.
Goes against everything this game stands for, and is a surefire way to basically kill the project almost immediately. However, there is no denying that the Fomo cosmetic packs are a major deterrent and a major source of skepticism for this ambitious MMO. Everything they claim sounds...
I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna hit him with a reality check here. Nobody gives a fuck. They can sell as many cosmetic packs as they want, nobody gives a fuck. The truth is, the reason why literally every other game on the market does it, it doesn't matter. Like, everybody is just like, every game does it. Like, other games are worse. We do care. No, you're right. And you will complain about it as you play the game. That's right. You will log on and you will be like, damn, man, I really wish I had this mount, but I don't. And that's it. Yes, people will complain about it, but it will not cause them to quit the game. It will not.
It's almost like they have a solution for everything wrong with the genre in the current year, and it does seem a lot like buzzwords and promises to appeal specifically to, well, everyone. This skepticism is...
It's to appeal to jaded 28-plus-year-old men, and also women. There are some ladies out there that are, you know, the old-school MMO players, and, you know, that have been fucked around and goofed over and over and over and over and over, and people are fucking tired of it, right? There's 1%, 1% girls, right? Something like that. And you've got those people that are really the ones that it appeals to, but you can't really appeal to that audience and actually like make a real game. It's the same thing as like a Pantheon or one of these other games. Like, you can't appeal to an audience that's like a fun, like, oh, if you didn't like this, come over here and you'll like this instead. You have to be something yourself. You can't just not be something else.
Further when we're closing in on nearly a year since our playable Alpha 1 phase, which was met by mixed reviews, mostly from people out of the loop of Ashes of Creation, and not really understanding what the Alpha 1 actually was supposed to be. But I think Intrepid are hyper aware of the impact Alpha 1 had on the public. They are super cautious about showing unfinished assets, and rightfully so. I think Pantheon utterly fail in this aspect, and it does more harm than good for their project by showing off unfinished and almost broken looking gameplay. So then
the reason why Pantheon is bad and people aren't excited about it is this
project by showing
that doesn't look fun to me. Like, that doesn't look good. Like, I don't see this and think to myself, wow, this looks really fucking great. Like, I don't see, for example, Like in Ashes of Creation with the alpha, I could see a tremendous amount of potential with the Ashes of Creation alpha. Whenever I see this, I see a tremendous amount of time that I'm going to waste killing one skeleton on a bridge. That's all I see. I don't care about the graphics. I don't care about any of that stuff. I just see that one thing, and I think to myself, nope. It's not, yeah, Pantheon is for EverQuest players, and that's just not me. I think that they're right to not show things that are unfinished, because like this is what happened with the tech alpha for Alpha 1 for Ashes of Creation. Is whenever I played it, everybody expected the game to be like pretty much finished, but they said it's a tech alpha, don't expect a whole lot. And then people said, $500 for this? The game ain't even ready yet. Hey, look at this. The game not ready. This is the game they said was going to be good. It ain't good. It's not ready. That's what it was. And like, really, I'm not even kidding you. That's what people were saying. Go back and read the comments.
Off unfinished and almost broken looking gameplay.
Yeah.
So then what's the solution? Well, I've mentioned it many times, but I don't think they should continue to push their progress towards the monthly cosmetic packs as cosmetics anymore. I wish they would show off these assets for what they actually are. Stop telling everyone these are mounts. Stop telling everyone they're cosmetic armor sets. This is a desert NPC faction that will populate the desert region. This is a mob that will populate the ocean. For the love of God, I'm begging you. Almost everyone is screaming this aloud. Stop pushing your progress as cosmetic pack progress. People outside our circle of hopium do not see it.
I actually think that's a good insight, and I think he's right about that. Is that it's just a matter of language, and the language could be changed in a way to make it more permissible by people. Yeah, he actually has a good point there. Because it's like they don't even have to stop doing it. They don't have to do anything different. They just have to change the way that they promote it. Because, yeah, I'm sure that there are people that are skeptical, and I don't really think this will have any ultimate effect on the game, but it creates unnecessary animosity because they hear it's a new cosmetic pack where it's like, well, you know, it is, but it's also something more than that. And I think that the cosmetic pack, like, it dwarfs the idea that it's actual content in the game. He's right about that for sure.
It as assets for the world, no matter how much you say it on stream. Hell, even people in my Discord don't get it, and I start molding when I got to explain it to the brainlets. Please show these assets as ambient mobs and enemy factions in the world instead, similar to how you've been displaying your Twitter posts recently.
Yeah.
For example, the Face of Sorrow set. This is clearly going to be some volcanic or corrupted mobs that will be fighting in the world. Nobody knows that because people just assume it's cosmetics that are no longer available because your Fomo monetization model. Listen, I get it. You need to sell these cosmetic packs to help keep the game funded. Even if you claim it's already funded until release, as a business, you still have a duty to try and make money. However, just shilling them at the start of your stream is more than enough. Anyone who buys them knows what they're buying into. When the last 18 months of updates have been labeled as progress towards cosmetics, that's why the game has a bad reputation and gets thrown in the same bin alongside shite like Pantheon and Star Citizen. Oops.
The reason why it gets thrown in the bin is because people can't play the game. And another reason is because the game promises a lot of things that people think are unrealistic. Like, it's like, if somebody promised you and told you that they were going to give you a car that had a drink machine in it that could fly, and on top of that, the tires would never go flat, and it never ran out of gas, and it's like, you heard all of this stuff. It's like, wow. It also, it has a pizza dispenser, and every pizza always has the toppings that you want on it, and you don't even have to click the button. It just reads your mind. Like, if somebody told you this, you wouldn't even try to buy the car. You would just think, shut up. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Nope, I'm done. I don't want to hear any bullshit, right? And that's what happens. And so, like, Ashes of Creation, they come in and they say, like, listen, we're trying to do, like, all of this crazy big stuff. And a lot of people don't believe it. And rightfully so, because there's a lot of MMOs that have said, hey, this is all this cool stuff that we're trying to do. Star Citizen is one of them. They're like, oh, hey, here's all this cool stuff we're trying to do, and it just doesn't go anywhere. Do you see kind of what I'm saying? And I think that's the big reason why people don't believe it, is because it is. Like, it's a long shot. It really is. It's like you have this one guy, and it's like you're supposed to believe that this one guy, Steven, who's an MMO player, is going to just put all of his money forward and just make this super good game that is perfect and it has all the systems that you've ever wanted. It doesn't matter how true it is or not, or how authentic he is. People will hear that and think bullshit. They will. They're going to think bullshit because they're like, oh, that's not going to happen, because they've seen a million other times this has happened and it didn't go anywhere. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, it's not like that they're wrong. I think that people, and even Steven acknowledged this. Remember, I had the interview with him, and he said people are like beaten dogs, MMO players. They're scared to come back again because they're worried they're just going to get finessed again and again and again. I think that's fair.
Pantheon's great, guys. I'm sure it'll make it past alpha.
Yeah.
So let's discuss Ashes of Creation's monetization post-launch. If we are to assume the game falls under the same range of players as Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, and Black Desert Online, then we need to take a look at how these games are monetized to stay afloat in the current year. Guild Wars 2 is a buy-to-play game with paid expansions and an in-game cosmetic store that also sells convenience items such as experience boosts and bag slot upgrades. The main monetization red flag for Guild Wars 2 is the gem to gold conversion mechanic, basically making this game your typical pay-to-win trash. However, as end-game progression is almost non-existent, everything is about cosmetic and horizontal progression, so no matter how much real-life money you convert into in-game gold, it's not actually helping you in any way. You're just buying cosmetic garbage. But Guild Wars 2 is a unique one in this equation, as the game is run by one of the only passionate development teams left that isn't mired by their corporate publisher. So let's move on to Elder Scrolls Online next, a game that is also buy-to-play with an in-game cash shop and similar convenience items to Guild Wars 2. It also follows a—
Bro, I feel like the fucking troll face despair meme whenever he goes through every single MMO and it's like buy-to-play, free-to-play with a cash shop, buy-to-play with a cash shop, sub-fee buy-to-play with a cash shop, and then up cash shop, and another cash shop. Like, listen, I remember whenever, back in the day, people would have, like, gone apeshit over this stuff. They would have fucking hated it. But now, the truth is that people are just so conditioned to be okay with it that I don't think there's no turning back. I really don't think that there is. I don't think there's any turning back. It's just, this is the way game development is.
It's similar but not quite as loose horizontal progression path, so I'd argue that this game isn't pay to win either, until you factor in their optional subscription fee, which a lot of players argue is actually mandatory to play this game properly, as the game has a terrible way of restricting your material storage without it. Also, all their DLC content is gated behind ESO+. But personally, I'm someone who is a major advocate for mandatory subscription fees, so I wish the game would just get rid of the deceptive free-to-play hook and just man the fuck up and say the subscription is mandatory. Sadly,
I don't think they should do that. I actually think that I think that the way that Final Fantasy, Lost Ark, and apparently Elder Scrolls Online do it is really good. I think having an optional subscription is a really good idea that gives you like other benefits and bonuses. The reason why is because it makes it to where it's not mandatory and there's no barrier to entry of playing the game. I think that a lot of people might not understand this, but barrier to entry with video games is becoming a bigger and bigger problem because more and more games are out there that are free to play that have no barrier to entry, and it's harder to attract a fresh player if you require a upfront fee. Like, that's just the truth. That's the truth. Like, it doesn't matter, like, oh, but I don't like that. Oh, okay, well, then never mind. I guess that's not... Yeah, Final Fantasy isn't optional? Yes, it is. You can play the entire game Final Fantasy Online, the award-winning game, you can play it until Heaven's Ward and enjoy Eorzea today, or something like that, right? Like, yeah, that's what it was. The Stormblood, yeah, I thought that's the way that it works. So the way the game works is that it hooks you, and then you pay the sub. So what you do, it's a free trial, right? Yeah, it's a trial, exactly. What I'm saying is that playing the game without a subscription is effectively a free trial in Lost Ark. Do you see kind of where I'm coming from here? RuneScape does that, and it allows you to play the full game. Yeah, do you see what I'm saying? It's like a 500-hour trial. Yeah, exactly. So that is a good way to run a game, and I actually think that World of Warcraft should do that more. I think that the World of Warcraft trial period is too small because people don't get hooked on the game. You should be able to go up to level 50, and you should be able to do a bunch of other stuff as a World of Warcraft trial account, because that would get more people to play the game. Because the moment that you tell people you have to spend money to even try it out, a lot of people are like, I don't want to do that. And that's the truth.
This will never happen, as corporate publishers would rather deceive unsuspecting consumers than actually have any kind of integrity these days. Which leaves us, finally, with the worst of the bunch, Black Desert Online, a game that is buy to play and also features not one, not two, but 3 optional subscription fees, 2 of which I would argue are mandatory, and on top of that, a whole in-game store mired with pay-to-win garbage. Now, if you're typing out a comment trying to defend Black Desert Online's in-game store by explaining how it's not actually as pay to win as I'm making it seem, go right ahead, because I need the interaction on the video anyway. But also remember, I've got over 10,000 hours in this MMO, and I'm quite proud of how competitive I made my purely free-to-play account. I know what this game is about, and it is pay to win at the end of the day. So, with this information at hand, we can kind of garner what's necessary for an MMO to remain profitable in the current year. I don't believe this is corporate entities being greedy, trying to squeeze every last drop out of this slow-dying genre. I think it's just them trying to make their games somewhat profitable by compromising the progression with microtransaction revenue. And now we interrupt our regularly broadcast tangent to bring us back to a game that is completely and utterly irrelevant. Ashes of Creation. Post-launch, Ashes are going to continue their Fomo monetization methods by rotating limited cosmetics in their store. This is taken from a direct quote from Steven. However, it is of course subject to change. But weirdly, even though I hate Fomo and cosmetics, I'm not entirely sure it needs to change. Allow me to explain. As you all know, I fucking hate cosmetic stores, but I won't keep beating this subject to death. I will instead discuss long-term monetization and the effects of FOMO on a community. FOMO is obviously an insidious practice that preys off the weak-minded with a false sense of urgency. But FOMO only really...
It's not really even a false sense of urgency. I don't think that it is, because they're literally saying if you don't do it now, you can't get it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's no false sense of urgency. It's engineered to be, that's the way the game works. That's what it is. What does FOMO stand for? Fear of missing out. So FOMO is like, you have to do it now or you're never going to be able to get it again. Or you have to get this achievement before the patch is over, or you won't be able to earn it in the next expansion. Like, that's the kind of stuff that FOMO is. Yeah, it's a manufactured sense of urgency that's used to create a reason to play the game that day. It's false as an engineered and arbitrary. Yes, it basically is. And that's what it is. Yeah, Mage Tower. Like, Mage Tower was okay because it was out for a long time. I think that with FOMO stuff, especially like buying things in a store, people get pissed off about that. Yeah, exactly. Like your merch? Yeah, of course. It works. That's why people do FOMO. Like, the reason why everybody does stuff that works with FOMO is because it works. That's why Ashes of Creation is doing it. It's because it works. So the thing is, like, you can get mad and be like, well, I don't like this. Yeah, but it works. So people are going to keep doing it. That's all there is to it until it doesn't. Yes, you're right. And then whenever it doesn't work, then people will adapt and do something different. Yeah, it is what it is. Like, this is the way it goes.
becomes predatory when it uses a false sense of urgency to convince people that they need to buy it now. This is usually done by giving items a limited time discount and then saying it will be gone. Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, and Black Desert Online do this a lot, just to rotate these items back in a couple of months with an even higher discount,
Blizzard
screwing
does
over
that too.
people who paid that previous price under the false sense of urgency. Steven has explicitly stated that they will never be selling limited cosmetics and then bringing them back later at a discounted price. This to me is probably the most ethical way that you can use a FOMO monetization method. But I also recognize that I, as a consumer, have no idea what's required to actually fund an MMO. None of us do. There's a reason why it's not public knowledge. But Intrepid are the only development team to get a publicly funded MMO this far without the investment of corporate publishers. So to me, it seems like Steven knows what it takes to actually fund this project indefinitely. He knows what
that's why they're selling the cosmetics. It's because it's to make money. Right? I mean, he has his own money, and that's great. But there's also a bunch of other money that, you know, you need to make as well to pay things regularly. Change never happens. You don't whine about stuff. Stop acting like it's stupid to care about these issues. It is stupid because it makes money, so they're going to keep doing it. You're not making any change by making a comment about this on Twitter. If you don't like it, then just don't buy the game. What I'm saying is that the people that don't like it and don't buy the game are so small in population that their opinions are irrelevant to making decisions. That's all there is to it. So I understand that that's true, but what I'm saying is that the people that don't like this and that this is actually a reason for them to not play the game, there's not that many of them. And I think that also, like, not only are there not that many of them, but there is an increasingly small amount of them. Because people get older, they stop playing video games as much. And then the younger kids that are coming up and playing these kinds of games, they grew up playing fucking Candy Crush and shit like this. They're used to spending money on video games. They're already conditioned into it. So the younger audience, the people that are like, let's say 21 and under, don't really give a fuck as much as the, you know, like let's say we did whenever we were 21 and under. And then you also have the older audience too, who's more okay with pay to win because now they can afford it. That's what happens. So I'm not telling you that like you can't be upset about this. So you can be upset about whatever you want. Be my guest. All I'm saying is that there's not enough people that are to make a difference. How do I know that? Because I spent 10 years complaining about store mounts in WoW. And do you know what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. Nothing fucking happened. Like, it didn't change anything. It didn't make them release less mounts. Nothing happened. And I was like, I'm the biggest content creator for WoW. Like, by a mile. I'm just gonna be honest. I am.
Well, and, I mean,
what?
I'm pretty big too.
I meant online.
Oh, good one, dude.
Thanks. So yeah, anyway, this is what happens, right? And like this kind of stuff got /spit removed. Yep, that's right. And you know what that changed? Nothing. It changed absolutely fucking nothing.
To use to ensure its survival for not only the current alpha stage funding, but also post-launch funding as well. And sadly, I think the reality is, MMOs do genuinely cost a lot of money to develop and maintain. This is why I'm so concerned for Pantheon, because the game is struggling financially, even though they claim it's getting a 7-digit investment randomly. I don't think the game has what it takes to make it past its alpha phase, where it needs to keep its servers running for testers. I have my fingers crossed, and I don't mean to break anyone's heart, but funding is extremely important, and money doesn't come from thin air. So with that said, allow me to offer some thought-provoking questions for you, my dear viewer. Is FOMO necessary to keep this project alive? Do you think the team have what it takes to release this MMO before funding gets sketchy? But most importantly, how do you feel
I think that's not the right answer to ask. The right question to ask, Murdoch, thanks for the 5 subs, is the FOMO that they're introducing, is that going to make you not play the game? And I think that for pretty much everybody, the answer to that is no. And there will be some people that will say, yeah, I'm not going to play it anymore. They had that stuff. I'm not going to do it. I don't like it. You got to draw the line somewhere. You don't stand for something, you fall for anything. And then 2 days after the game's out and all their friends are playing, they're like, all right, what server you guys on anyway? Okay, all right, I'll log on. Sure. Okay, we'll see what this shit game is about. You know, that's what's gonna happen.
Them double dipping into a subscription fee and Fomo cosmetic store. Is it too greedy, or do you think the game's player base will genuinely not be large enough to sustain just the sub fee alone? These are all questions that keep me awake at night, and monetization is such a controversial topic that I almost didn't have the balls to touch this subject. However,
well, the thing is, like, it's better to have the monetization in at the beginning, because if you add it later on, people will use it as a turning point for a negative perspective of the game. Like, for example, people will be like, whoa, you know, the game was good until X, or the game was good until Y. Never have that. Make sure the game isn't good from the beginning, and then nobody can be upset about it. Problem fucking solved.
Did swing a massive bat at the furries by shitting on World of Warcraft's new expansion, so what do I have to lose at this point? I am already the villain. But as usual, I am just one nerd desperate for a good MMO. And my opinions mean nothing without yours in the comments below. Again, I want to encourage you not to pull any punches, as feedback is extremely important for this game's smooth development. It's difficult for the team to garner opinions from people outside our inner circle, and I think our channel is probably the best source for that. You guys aren't pinning all your hopes and dreams on this MMO being literal perfection, right?
I am. I'm hoping it's going to be very good. This is the thing that I do with video games, is that whenever the game is not out, I hope that it's really good, and I get so excited. I'm like, please be good. Please, I hope it's good. And then it's not good, and I just go on to the next game. And I'm like, well, you know, this is going to be the next game. This game's going to be really good. It's going to be the best game I've ever seen, and it's going to be amazing, right? What game are we talking about? It's Ashes of Creation. This guy does all the play games. Yeah, you know, a lot of people, that's what we do, right? That's it. AOC is End of Asmongold? What do you mean? No, no. Whenever Ashes of Creation comes out and it's not, if it's not good, then I'll just get excited for the Riot MMO. And then if the Riot MMO isn't good, well, I mean, I guess probably there'll be a new WoW expansion and get excited about that. And then by the time that comes out, there'll be probably something else to spend my money on in Lost Ark, and I can play that. And then maybe there'll be like New World 3 by that point. And, you know, like they might have fixed like the glitch where like whenever you're like trying to like cut something down and you're going up and down, like maybe they fix that in a new game. Like, there's always something. Yeah, there's Overwatch 3, which is actually Overwatch 1.2 now. And so that's what happens. Listen, it's just going to be, you're just going to the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. And I think that people, in my opinion, I think this is a better way to look at games rather than, like, get so emotionally tied to fucking, like, oh, this game has to be good. Like, I'm excited about Ashes of Creation. I'm really fucking excited about Ashes of Creation. FOMO cosmetics suck, but I don't think they're going to go away. I'm going to be honest.
But Narc, I don't even follow Ashes of Creation. I just came to tell you it's a scam.
And to that I say, listen, kid. If I had a dime for every time one of you rats commented that, I'd be a literal millionaire. So subscribe to the channel, turn off your ad blocker, and get high on copium.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Wow. Okay, what a fucking outro that is. Oh my god. Let me read some of these comments, man. McConnell, if you're still there, what do you think about the optional cosmetics in Ashes?
What's the deal? Is it you have to buy it to play it?
No, you just fucking, like, you pay a sub. You don't have to buy the game, you just pay a sub for the game.
I mean, Path of Exile is free to play. You know, that's why it's okay over there. So I don't know. But that game, listen, Ashes better be real fucking good if they want to do sub plus cosmetics.
Yep, there are other games out there that do subs and cosmetics, and people are not happy about them a lot of times. And game sells you everything. Yeah, I think so. People don't understand is how MMO normally is. WoW managed to create a community that's feedback, social FOMO. Well, there's a lot of like social stuff and everything like that. I mean, sure, exactly. Free-to-play CatDany sub or paid games. I think that having the game that has a like a free-to-play option is really important. Let me look at a few comments people are making here. A better option instead of cash shops, in my opinion, is for them to actually sell good IRL merch that comes with redeemable codes. Yeah, so the thing is with that is that costs more money, so they're not going to do it because they don't make as much money. Counter question, if projects funded through release as stated by Steam, and why do they need FOMO income during development? Because they want to have more money. It's just that simple. And also, it's probably more expensive, like things become more expensive over time, and the scope of the project could change, and so they could want more money as well. Like, I think people try to overthink this, and they're just doing themselves a disservice. I don't think that there is really a lot of overthinking. See, let me link this video first. This is the Narc video. Let me watch that real quick. And there you guys go.